Thanks for staying with us. 3 decades after the landmark Beijing Declaration challenged nations around the world to advance the rights and participation of women, the conversation about inclusion has remained very much alive. From politics and business to diplomacy and international affairs, women have undoubtedly made significant strides, yet questions persist about representation, access to leadership opportunities, and what true inclusion should look like in practice. Today, as the world marks the International Day of Women in Diplomacy, we ask, how far have we come? How far do we still have to go? And what will it take to build a future where women are not only present in leadership spaces, but are also equipped to thrive in them? Joining us this morning is Nigeria's former ambassador to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Ambassador Eniola Ajayi. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
This day, first of all, tell us about it. International Day of Women in Diplomacy. What's the objective?
All right, thank you very much. The International Day of Women in Diplomacy was enacted by a resolution of the United Nations General Assembly in year 2022. First, to, like you said, promote the inclusion of women in diplomacy, to help with their empowerment within that space, and also to help with mentoring upcoming diplomats, and also to provide more spaces for leadership for women, not just in diplomacy, but in other spheres of leadership across the world. So that's the essence, just to get more inclusion and to get more visibility for the voice of the woman within the communities.
30 years, well, 31 now, after the whole conversation about the Beijing conference. It was very, very big in Nigeria at the time. You would remember, with late Mrs. Maria Babangida, leading the charge and all. It was shortly before that conference that the Ministry of Women Affairs, I think, or the Women Commission, was set up. 30 years after, would you say we have moved the needle a bit?
We have moved up and down. Why I said that is that in the National Assembly, at a time, we had more women in the National Assembly. But today, the number has dropped. But I'm happy to say that within the diplomatic space, we actually have cause to celebrate. At least we celebrate our small wins. And why do I say that? We have a record 15 ambassadors within the current cycle of ambassadors appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Is unprecedented, because within my own cycle, when our tenure ended in 2023, I don't think we had up to 10, both career and non-career. But today we have at least 15. And currently, the Minister of Foreign Affairs is a woman, which is a good thing. And she's the third in the line of foreign ambassadors of Nigeria. So we've moved within the diplomatic sector. And what I'm really glad about is that the women ambassadors that have been appointed in the past few years that I know of have actually made a big difference in their missions and in their own areas of responsibility. I know we've done, the International Day of Women in Diplomacy started in 2022, and by 2023, in Nigeria, we already established the Women Ambassadors of Nigeria Network. And by 2025, early 2025, it was formally registered. And even before then, we had started having programs for this Women Ambassadors Network in Nigeria. So I think we've moved, but we have a better and longer way to go still. Because in every cycle of appointing ambassadors and maybe consulate generals, you probably would have about 105 people in that position. So right now, if we have just about 15, by the time you add the consuls to it, maybe at the most 20. That's still like less than 20% of the entire number of people we require. So we need to do better in Nigeria.
Okay. Well, you are chairperson of that Women Ambassadors of Nigeria Network. We'll speak to that in a bit. But there's also this talk about the 35% affirmative action and all of that. And it would seem like even that is a big truck finding, seriously struggling to move. What exactly do you think are the inhibitions?
Okay, let me say, you see, it's a systemic problem. If a woman is not in the room to say, here I am, recognize that I'm here, nobody would recognize it. What do I mean? With the few number of women we have in the Senate and the House of Representatives, how can they possibly get their men to reserve a seat for a woman to be able to be in the place? So if, even right now, we're lucky that I think is the the president of the House of Representatives that is like promoting this bill to reserve a seat for the woman in the National Assembly. But it's not moving far. Because when the chips are down, for me, I think what affects us women the most is that we don't like too much aggression, and many times we are not actually very assertive in asking for positions. And then when the system is skewed in such a way that it already puts you at a disadvantage, then it will be good for you to know your place. Because all over the world, when the system speaks, you have to know your limitations within that system. So unless the systems in our political parties actually make room for the women, they're not going to go far. Because the men are out there saying, I'm the one that's supposed to be the senator. I'm the one you should send to the House of Representatives. And when the field is large, maybe you have 6 people competing. It's very difficult for a woman to emerge from that setting, not because they don't have the capacity, but they don't have the, maybe the grit to make it happen. And the system does not favor their emerging.
There are those who have also argued that sometimes it is the women that stand against, or that stand against fellow women coming into the fray. For instance, there is a whole load of women in every political party, and sometimes it's the woman that is saying, okay, it's my husband that should go and not you, somebody else's wife, and all of those things. So does that argument hold any water for you?
There is a bit of a grain of truth in it, but it's not entirely correct. Because I also know of a situation where a man was going to be appointed an ambassador and he says, no, please let my wife go. So it happens that way sometimes. But the truth is, even the Bible says a woman's desire will be unto the man. It's like a natural affinity between a man and a woman to want to like give reverence to the man, to say you are preferred before me. Not with animosity in mind. But the thing is, when you are in that exalted position where you are usually preferred, then the grace that you require to include the woman now falls on the man.
Okay.
So within our political structure, they must be intentional to say, let's support this woman. And when they do, because when the women understand that the establishment does not mind, they will support the woman. When I ran for House of Representatives in 2015, I competed against 4 men who I beat fair and square in the primaries. But it helped me to know that when the chips are down, the system will defend me. So it's very important to understand the intricacies of politics and leadership.
So when you talk about system now, I know that Kayla is inching to, she's a woman as well, so yes. She's inching to come in. But when you say the system, it's a systemic problem and the system needs to be on the side of the woman a little more Well, that doesn't say the system will be against the man, but it's just a little more. What exactly are you talking about? Perhaps that's one of the reasons that efforts were being made, or maybe are still being made, to come up with a law that compels that affirmative action.
Yes.
Is that sufficient, or are there more other systemic infrastructure that need to be put in place?
Okay, there's the need for political will as well within that system.
On whose part?
On the part of the leaders of the political parties and the parts of leaders in different spheres of government to say, I will include the woman. I know in some agencies in Nigeria where they've tested and tried some women and they have excelled. And the man or the man in authority thinks, these women are good for the work I need to do, and promotes them to be able to fulfill those roles. See how our women have performed creditably across the world in leadership positions. Amina Mohammed, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, many of them, they've done excellently well. So the political will to say that this thing should be this way. Look at what is happening now politically in Ogun State. The next, hopefully, candidate, the candidate for APC in Ogun State for deputy governor is a woman. In Lagos, in Ekiti, is a woman. In Lagos, hopefully, I think, is a woman. If the system is deliberate in that fashion to make sure that women are given their due share just by being fair, then we will all benefit from it.
Well, Kayla, it's up to you.
Yes. I mean, this is a very important conversation. And just so we can situate it, Dr. Ajayi, we've only had 3 women as Minister of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria's history. Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala briefly at sometime in 2006, and then Ambassador Joy Ogwu for 1 year between 2006 and 2027. And then now Ambassador Bianca Odumegwu Ojukwu in 2006. So those are 3 women who have been Minister of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria's history. In the cohorts that the president has released of ambassadorial nominees, at least, let's go back there, 65 of them, only 10 were women. Only 10 were women. And out of the 10, 4 of them career ambassadors and 6 of them non-career ambassadors. The intentionality of putting women in diplomatic spheres is one I think I need you to speak on. Why is women inclusivity in our diplomatic space crucial? And why, what do you think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should be thinking about? If he gets another time in office, he still has an opportunity to get more women involved in our diplomatic space. Why is it important to put women in these spaces?
Thank you very much, madam. It's absolutely important to put women in these spaces because, number one, women are very good at diplomacy. What do I mean? We don't come with the baggage of ego. We're very amiable, and we're people that understand how to do team playing, which is very essential, especially within the multilateral setting. You find out that women are very good at it, and then we have what you call the soft power. We're very good at negotiating. Any way you put us, carefully, tactfully, gently, and nicely, we're able to get people on our side. And we can do that efficiently, especially within the diplomatic space. I recall that when I was in the Netherlands, my African colleagues, they would defer to me because I never come out like, oh, it's all about Nigeria. Nigeria must come first and all that. I just made it obvious to them that I'm a team player. We will come together. Africa first. Let's do this together. And then we'll lead the way, we show the way without taking the glory. So women are very good at diplomacy. We're very careful. And then when it comes to things like hosting, you know we are natural hostesses. Our national days, we do it with the touch of the feminine church. We are very good at those things. And then we are also very good learners. We don't come with ego. we go and do anything we're supposed to do, and we're able to integrate ourselves quicker into the community and affect even the Nigerian citizen as well. I remember when I was in the Netherlands, and even before then in Hungary, my 4 pillars were inclusion, investment, image building, and innovation. That inclusion, the average Nigerian felt included. I was able to gather the women, I was able to see the students, I went for different graduation ceremonies, I was their mommy.
Yes.
When their mommy was not around, you know, that kind of thing. So
yeah.
Women are natural diplomats, and they are very good at it, and very cerebral as well.
I wanted to get a bit of practical from you here. Let's look at a situation that we're dealing with right now, our diplomatic relations with South Africa. You know, there were some spaces where conversations were ongoing, and it felt like, you know, at the time when our Foreign Affairs Minister, Ambassador Bianca Odumegwu Ojukwu, stepped into the matter, it's almost as though you started to see a lot of action. There was a lot of calmness and talk backstage and whatnot, but all of a sudden she came in, and then we started to see, well, let's get our people back. Let's get our people back. And then talking about, look, we may have to retaliate for what's been going on here. You've been an ambassador to the Netherlands, to the Kingdom of the Netherlands. If you were sort of caught up in that situation, let's say you were an ambassador in any sphere when it had to do with South Africa, how would you have handled it differently? And what about you being a woman would have helped you handle the situation better?
Thank you very much. I wouldn't like to say I would do it better, but my own approach always is to include people. Once people feel included, they don't feel threatened. They actually even go out to defend you. And what is that? Normally, I keep an open door policy. I don't have favorites. I love everyone. And I look out for them. I make it obvious that I care about you. So first of all, I'll gather my people, the Nigerian people. We'll talk to ourselves and say, these are the issues we're confronting. How best should we go about it? What are the things you need for us to do? And what should we be doing? And then I would, of course, have several engagements with the host country to, first of all, place the complaints of our citizens before them, and then ask them what their issues are with us as well, so that we can address them. And then tell them what is at stake if they don't actually cooperate with us. Not in a threatening manner, but in a factual manner. And the fact that no country can exist in isolation, not even the biggest country in the world, because every nation has its pride. And then we have things that we can also look back to as pointers of things we have done together as countries. So what we would need is a lot of conversations with our citizens and with the host government and also our government back home, to let them know what the situation is and decide on the best way to move forward in the circumstance. So nobody can say something from outside if you've not been part of it on the inside. But what I can tell you is when I had all kinds of situations like that, that was how I was able to approach them. So that's what we need to do. We need to engage seriously. Engage with that, even the South African community themselves, and let them understand things in the proper perspective.
Before I toss back to Ayo, you know, I heard you talking earlier about affirmative action. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been criticized for not delivering on the affirmative action for women in this administration, whether it is in appointees, and like I said earlier, only 10 women out of 65 in this particular cohort of ambassadorial nominees. So we can be clear about what it is that we're asking for. When you're saying you want affirmative action from the presidency when it comes to, you know, female ambassadors, and also you talked politics as well, inclusion in politics, that's a whole different ballgame. But when it comes to appointments, especially for ambassadorial nominees, maybe talk to the president directly and explain what affirmative action Nigerian women are asking for from him in that diplomatic space.
All right, thank you so much. Right now, I believe that between the non-career and career ambassadors, we have about 15. ambassadors, because I'm the chairperson and I know that we have a group that they've been admitted into. Maybe some of them were appointed outside of the mainstream news, so you don't have that number. But talking to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I'll just say, I want to thank you for the bold steps that you've been taking in many spheres of our existence as a nation. One of them is the issue of state police. And because I know that when you want to achieve something, you can do it. You have the political will and sagacity to get it done. So I'm not afraid that if you want more women in your cabinet, in the houses of assembly and in the National Assembly, you know how to make the system work to achieve it. Even if it's just with an executive directive for now, that everybody should try and do this. I know it can be done. So we would like to see more women within the diplomatic sphere. That means for it to happen, the states have to be mandated to at least submit the name of at least one woman within the list that they're submitting for ambassadorial nominees. I'm lucky that in my state we have 2 right now, so I can't complain. But I know that in Gombe, there's no ambassadorial nominee, career or non-career right now. So I would like to plead nicely with Mr. President to make sure the one that will come from Gombe, non-career, would be a woman. It would really be nice to have that. And for you to please, sir, continue to put more women in places of authority, because we will deliver on that assignment. Thank you.
You know, just before we go, a quick one for the future. Young women. There are those who wonder exactly what it takes to be positioned, to be appointed, be it as a career or non-career ambassador, as you put it. What are the things that a young woman in university, even in secondary school, should be thinking about now to become this person?
Okay, first of all, to be a non-career ambassador, you just need to be a good professional in any sphere. Former heads of states have been made ambassadors of their country, former generals, former Supreme Appeal Court judges, regular judges, people like me from the health sector, education. So you can be anything, but you need to be good. You need to also be someone who's contributing to society. Most people who get appointed as career ambassadors, they don't set out to say, I want to be an ambassador. They just set out to make a difference within their spheres of influence. But for career ambassadors, you need to, first of all, study courses that are relevant, maybe like law, economics, languages, politics, and even anything. But you now need to get admitted into our foreign service.
Okay.
Through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, asking for new people to be recruited. And when you go to the Foreign Service Academy, then you begin the career progression of being a second secretary, first secretary, and so on and so forth.
I think it's about time someone began to take notes from you about how to become an ambassador. Kayla, for instance, I mean, she's very good at what she does. Maybe I don't want to ask you whether or not you think she's good enough. Don't let her head swell. Thank you so much for your time this morning with us.
Thank you for having us. You didn't talk about Women Ambassadors Network at all.
Oh, we'll come back to it.
You said we will come back.
We will come back to it. Ambassador and Dr. Eniola Ajayi, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
God bless.
Well, Kayla already teased the fact that we'll be speaking out about state police. That's when we return.